Sewing is such a rich hobby. It has so many advantages, like we said in the advantages of sewing video, of course, and I think I've learned so much during these years of YouTube, probably more than I would have learned on my own. And one of those things that I've learned is not only sewing, but how to move myself around myself in the sewing room. And I've taken those habits, those routines to other aspects of my life, and they are working really well. One of the things I've noticed I can do now is that I can eyeball any measurements of any objects I can see. We take so many measurements all the time that now when I go to the fabric store and I see a piece of remnant, I know if that's going to be enough for a garment or not. And of course you can take that to other aspects of your life. If you're decorating, you know if an object is going to fit in a particular corner of your house, and it's also useful for other subjects as well. Wink, wink. You know what I mean. It's just a joke. The main thing you can notice is saving, the amount you can save by sewing. Some people will say that sewing is expensive, but of course if you're going to get Liberty fabrics, it's going to get a bit more costly. But in general, if you upcycle stuff, if you mend stuff you have in the house, and if you do some garments out of little remnants you see in the shop, you're going to save a lot of money. And if you get braver and you have a go at decorating, you can make curtains, cushions, upholster some stuff, and that way you don't have to go out to the shops and get some new stuff for the perfectly fine cushions you have in the house. So that's really good as well. I think it saves a lot of money and it's a direct advantage to all the rest. Patience with capital letters. Being patient is so important in the sewing room, and maybe it's not something that you are, maybe you're not a patient person, but it's basic, because if not, you're going to be really hard on yourself. You have nice fabrics, you have instructions to follow, you have tools you have to get used to, and something can go wrong. Everything can go wrong.
For sure, in any project something is going to go wrong.
And you have to be patient. In my case, patience has been a struggle, and years ago I used to leave stuff in a basket and finish projects that will never see the light again because I wasn't patient enough to finish them or to see what was wrong with them. Nowadays I have to finish my projects, and I've noticed I've got a bit more patient, I think, and you can use that patience in other aspects of your life, maybe dealing with some people or explaining something, or when you get to a place and you have to look at things. Taking your time is really important, and being patient, it really is a virtue. I love the title of this one, Organizing Tasks in order to have a better workflow. Isn't that true? I've already said it in the How to Sew Efficiently video, and I think it's my vibe. I think I rule by it now. And I love the idea because I think you save a lot of time by piling the same task and then go to a different tasks. For example, when you're sewing, normally the instructions tell you you have to sew something, then open seams, then sew another thing and pressing with your iron, and it takes a lot of time. All this going to the sewing machine, coming back and switching something on and off, and it takes longer. So right now what I'm doing is that I sew a few things that are not together and then press seams open, so that way I save energy of the iron as well, and it works really well. And I've been doing that outside the sewing room as well. For example, in the kitchen, if you're going to batch cook something, you do all the first sauces or whatever, and the same in organizing. If you're going around the house organizing stuff, going to one room and then the other, it's something really logical to do. It doesn't mean you need to sew to batch do something, but it's been working for me because I'm used to doing it now, so I don't have to get any new habits to start doing it around the house or when I go to do some, ¿cómo se llaman esto?
No son no son.
Errands. Not only in the house, but when I have to leave to do some errands, I do the same. I hate going to places one day and then the other. It takes a lot of time. So I like to batch errand as well, so I can do everything at once. Of course, you don't need to sew to do that, but as I said, because I have the habit now, it's really easy to take it somewhere else. Sewing is a pretty hard hobby if you think about it, because it's so many steps and so many techniques. It's a job. I mean, it's a profession. So being hard on yourself, it's quite easy when something goes wrong. You didn't do it right. You are not worth it, or you don't. You shouldn't be sewing. Why are you doing this? And being tolerant is really important. There's no use, there's no point on being hard on yourself, because the only thing you're going to do is to damage your self-esteem and to not be able to sew for a few weeks after that. So be tolerant and be patient, as I said, because it's for yourself and you're creating something amazing. And of course, when you start to tolerate yourself, you can start putting yourself in other people's shoes, thinking about their needs, their problems, and how you can help and manage yourself around them, which is really useful as well. And not only in the sewing room, this is really important in every aspect of your life. Learning from your mistakes is a basic. If you did something wrong, just don't excuse yourself. Oh, I was doing something and I forgot, or I probably was busy. No, you just have to stop a second and say, oh, well, I did that, I did do that. So that way you don't do it again. It's really hard to admit you've made a mistake, but it's the right way to do it, so you can go on. And around the house, even when it's little things, you left something undone or unfinished, and it's not such a big deal, but it can make a snowball of stuff undone because of the first mistake, or it can cause maybe even an accident. So just stop a second and admit you've made a mistake, and that way you probably won't do it again. And the same with other people. This is really good because you can accept other mistakes and not get angry at people for making them. Self-esteem, of course, this is obvious, but it's such a rush to be able to wear something you've made and you feel amazing. And not only a garment, anything you make, if you've made a cushion, curtains, if you've upholstered a chair, no one is going to have the same item as you, because unless you make the same with the same fabric, it's exclusive, isn't it? So that gives you such a rush because you have your personality all over it. When I started sewing and when I started the YouTube channel especially, I remember I used to get so nervous when starting a new project. I used to come in here, stare at the table and at the fabric, and it got me a while to start cutting it. It was so stressful and it got me so anxious, and I was telling my husband I don't get that nervous anymore. I just come in and I'm confident about what I'm doing, and all this confidence is making me also confident in other aspects of my life. When you talk to people, when you know your opinion, when you know what you have to do, this is really important as well. And all this sewing, all the steps you have to follow, the investment you are doing in your fabrics and your materials, and all the work hours you have to put into something, it's made me really conscious about the effort you're making, the effort I'm making, and to respect as well other craftsmen you have around. All those hours that someone has put into knitting something, designing, carving, anything you can think about doing with your hands, it's amazing, and we all have to respect and realize the amount of work it takes instead of going to a fast fashion shop and getting the first thing you see and the millions of them that are behind. I think it's amazing the amount of things a hobby can teach you apart from the proper hobby, and I think sewing is one of those things that can end up teaching you a lot, and you can take it to every aspect of your life. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments any other things you can think of I haven't said, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and if you like this kind of content, so you don't miss anything. And I leave you here a whole list of all the talking about sewing topics, like the ones we said, advantages of sewing, the frustrations, sewing efficiently, tours, so many more. So stick around for a while. Bye. Adelia.
You know what I mean. It's just a joke.